The security guard looked at me like I was speaking a dead language. That pitying, slightly annoyed squint people give you when you've interrupted their lunch break for something stupid. Atherton Logistics, I repeated, my grip tightening on the neck of the vase. The condensation from the cold glass was slick against my palm. The orchids, Elena's favorites, huge, purple, alien-looking things, bob ridiculously with the tremor in my hand. Sweet 400. My wife works there. I'm just trying to drop these off for our anniversary. The guard sighed, a heavy, wet sound, and tapped his finger against a laminated directory bolted to the marble wall. Look, buddy, I've been working this desk for 6 years. There's no Atherton Logistics. Suite 400 is a storage unit for the janitorial staff. It's full of floor buffers and bleach. I laughed. It was a sharp, jagged sound that hurt my throat. That's impossible. She's a regional director. She's been coming here for 3 years. 3 days a month. Every single month. Maybe she got the address wrong, the guard said, turning back to the small TV monitor hidden behind his desk. He was dismissing me, but she hadn't got the address wrong. I knew that because I was the one who programmed it into the GPS for her when we bought her car. I knew that because I've seen the company letterhead on the pay stub she leaves on the kitchen counter. Atherton Logistics, 412 Industrial Parkway, Suite 400. I walked out of the building, the sliding glass doors hissing shut behind me. The sun was blinding, reflecting off the asphalt of the office park, but I felt cold, a deep, marrow-level chill that started in my stomach and radiated out to my fingertips. I walked to my car, opened the passenger door, and set the orchids down on the seat. I didn't buckle them in. I just stared at them. They looked like spiders. I sat in the driver's seat for 20 minutes, just breathing, in, out, trying to make the world stop tilting. Elena and I have been married for 5 years. We are the boring couple, the stable couple. She's the type A, high-powered executive. I'm the freelance graphic designer who works from home and remembers to buy the oat milk. She handles the mortgage. I handle emotional labor. It works. It's perfect. Or it was every month from the 12th to the 15th. Elena goes on a site visit. She packs the same matte black Samsonite carry-on. She packs 3 charcoal pantsuits. She kisses me on the forehead. Always the forehead, never the lips, like she's sparing me something, and tells me not to wait up when she gets back, because the flight is always delayed. 3 years. That's 36 trips. 36 times I've waved goodbye from the porch. I pull my phone out. My thumb hovered over a contact photo. It's a picture of us in Cabo, sunburnt and laughing. She looks so open there, so real. I dialed. It rang 4 times. Then the click. Hey, honey. Her voice was breathless, bright. Happy anniversary. I was just about to call you. I'm in the middle of a breakout session, so I can't talk long. I looked out the windshield at the building where Suite 400 was a closet full of bleach. Hey, I said. My voice sounded hollow, like I was speaking from inside a well. How's the conference? Oh, she laughed. Brutal. The client is demanding a total restructure of supply chain. I've been running around like a headless chicken since I landed. I'm literally hiding in the break room right now just to hear your voice. The break room, I repeated. Yeah. Listen, babe, I have to go. The VP is waving at me. I ordered you that Thai food you like for dinner. It should be there by 6. I love you. Elena, I said, gotta run. Love you. Click. She hung up. I sat there, holding the phone against my ear, listening to the silence. She wasn't in a break room. There was no client. There was no VP. The terrifying thing wasn't a lie. People lie. People have affairs. People have secret gambling debts. The terrifying thing was the sound. When she spoke, I heard background noise. I heard the low murmur of other voices, the clacking of keyboards, the hum of an HVAC system, the distinct ping of an elevator arriving. But she wasn't here. And if she wasn't here, where was she? And where did those sounds come from? I threw the phone onto the passenger seat. It hit the vase, knocking it over. Water spilled across the leather, soaking into the upholstery, but I didn't care. I started the car and peeled out of the lot. I needed to go home. I needed to see our life. I needed to prove that I existed, even if her job didn't. The drive back took an hour, but I don't remember any of it. I must have stopped at red lights. I must have used my turn signal. But my brain was offline, looping a highlight reel the last 3 years. Every time she came home tired. Every time she complained about Jim from accounting. Every time she brought home a branded pen or a stress ball with the Atherton logo on it. Where did she get the pens? God, the effort, the sheer, monumental effort to maintain a fiction like that. It requires a level of sociopathy that I couldn't reconcile with the woman who cries during dog food commercials. I pulled into our driveway. The house looked normal. A 2-story colonial in the suburbs. The grass was cut. The mail was in the box. It was a stage set. I unlocked the front door, and the silence of the house hit me like a physical blow. Usually I love the quiet. Today it felt heavy. Pregnant. I went straight to her home office. Elena is private about her work. NDAs, she always says. Corporate espionage is real, babe. I never pushed. I respected her space. Her office door was always locked when she was gone. I stood before the door. White wood, brass handle. I jiggled it. Locked. I went to the garage. I dug through my toolbox until I found a hammer and a flathead screwdriver. I didn't care about finesse. I didn't care about explaining this later. The polite husband was gone. He died in the parking lot of 412, Industrial Parkway. I jammed the screwdriver into the jamb and hammered it home. It splintered. I shimmied it, applying pressure until, crack, the frame gave way. The door swung open. The air inside was stale. Dust motes danced in the afternoon light, filtering through the blinds. I don't know what I expected. A second family? A shrine to a satanic cult? A room full of weapons? It looked like an office. There was a desk, an ergonomic chair, a bookshelf lined with texts on logistics and management. I walked to the desk. It was clean, too clean. No loose papers, no sticky notes. I opened the laptop sitting in the center, password protected. Of course. I opened the top drawer. Pens, paper clips, a stapler, second drawer, old charging cables. I opened the bottom drawer. It was a filing cabinet, neatly labeled hanging folders. Taxes, mortgage, insurance, car. I pulled the taxes folder. I flipped through the returns. There they were. W-2 forms from Atherton Logistics. Salary, $145,000. Federal withholding. Social Security. It looked real. It looked perfectly real. I held the paper up to the light. The watermark was there. If the company doesn't exist, who is paying her? Who is generating these forms? You can't just fake a W-2 to the IRS. The money has to come from a registered entity. My hands were shaking so bad, I dropped the folder. Papers scattered across the floor. As I knelt to pick them up, I saw it. Taped to the underside of the desk, way in the back, hidden in the shadows. A small, black box. It wasn't electronic. It was a safe. A biometric pistol safe. Elena hates guns. She won't even let me watch action movies if they're too violent. She marched for gun control. I stare at the red light blinking on the safe. I put my thumb on the scanner, just out of instinct. Beep, beep. Red light. Access denied. Of course. I grabbed the hammer again. I dragged the safe out from under the desk. It was heavy. I set it on the hardwood floor. I smashed the hinge. Nothing. I smashed it again. The metal dented, but held. I started swinging wildly, screaming with every impact, letting all the fear and betrayal bleed out into the violence of the strikes. Clang, clang, crack. The plastic casing around the lock shattered. I jammed the screwdriver into the mechanism and twisted with both hands, putting my entire body weight into it. The door popped open. There was no gun inside. There were 3 things. First, a passport. I opened it. It was Elena's face. But the name wasn't Elena. It was Nadia Volkov, and the nationality wasn't American. It was Russian. Second, a stack of cash. Thick, strapped with rubber bands. Hundreds. It looked like at least 50 grand. And third, a phone. An old burner flip phone. As I stared at it, the phone buzzed. It vibrated against the wood floor, a sound like an angry insect. I froze. It buzzed again. I picked it up. My heart was hammering against my ribs, so hard I thought it might crack them. The screen was small and pixelated. It said, "Incoming message." I flipped it open. The text was short. Subject has breached the perimeter at 412. Protocol 7 initiated. Burn the house. You have 10 minutes. I read it twice. Subject, that was me. Breached the perimeter. The office. Burn the house. I smelled it then. A faint, acrid scent drifting up from floor vents. Not smoke. Not yet. Gas. I scrambled up, dropping the phone. I ran to the hallway. The smell was stronger here. A heavy, rotten egg stench that was filling the air rapidly. She had rigged the house. My wife, the woman who leaves me sticky notes on the coffee pot with smiley faces, had a kill switch rigged to our HVAC system. I ran for front door, grabbing the handle. It wouldn't turn. I twisted the deadbolt. It spun freely. It wasn't locked from the inside. The mechanism had been engaged remotely. Electronic smart locks. She insisted on them last year. For safety, she said. I ran to the window in the living room. I grabbed a dining chair and hurled it at the glass. The chair bounced off. Reinforced, impact-resistant film. We installed it for hurricane protection. The text message. You have 10 minutes. How long had I been reading the files? How long had I been smashing the safe? I checked my watch. I had maybe 3 minutes. I ran back to the office. I grabbed the passport and the burner phone. I needed answers. If I survived this, I needed to know who I had been sleeping next to for 5 years. I looked around the room, frantic. The window here was smaller. Maybe I could break the sash. Then the burner phone buzzed again in my hand. I flipped it open, expecting a countdown. It was a map, a GPS tracking dot. It showed 2 points. One was a blue, me. The other was a red, asset. The red that was moving. Fast. It wasn't at the airport. It wasn't in the city. The red that was 3 streets over. And it was coming straight toward the house. And the red wasn't just moving. It was practically teleporting. I didn't have 3 minutes. I had seconds. The gas was so thick now I could taste it. A metallic, oily film coating my tongue. My head swam. The floor tilted. I scrambled toward the kitchen. My shirt pulled up over my nose. Eyes watering. The smart locks on the doors were deadbolts. Solid steel. Without the code or the app, I was trapped in a bomb that was priming itself to blow. I grabbed one of the heavy cast-iron skillets from a hanging rack, a wedding gift from her co-workers, and swung it at the kitchen window. Thud. The reinforced glass spiderweb but didn't shatter. The chair hadn't worked. The skillet wasn't working. She had turned our sanctuary into a vault. A coffin. Outside, tires screeched. A sound like a wounded animal tearing up the asphalt. I dropped the skillet and ran to the basement door. If I couldn't go out, I had to go down. Heat rises. Explosions push outward. The foundation was concrete. It was the only chance. I threw the door open and tumbled down the wooden stairs, missing the last 3 steps and crashing onto the cold cement floor. I rolled into the corner, behind the furnace, curling into a ball, covering my head with my arms. Above me, I heard the front door blow open. Not unlocked. Blown open. A shotgun blast? A battering ram? Then footsteps. Heavy. Frantic. Not the click-clack of heels. These were boots. Running. Michael. It was her. But it wasn't the voice I knew. It wasn't the voice that ordered Thai food or cooed at puppies. It was a guttural, terrifying roar. Michael, where are you? I held my breath. I squeezed my eyes shut. I still had the hammer in my belt loop. I gripped the handle, until my knuckles turned white. Clear. A male voice. Deep. Synthesized? No, muffled by a mask. Check the bedroom. Elena screamed. I'm checking the office. The breach sensor tripped in the office. She wasn't alone. She had a team. A death squad. I heard boots thundering directly above me. The floorboards creaked. I heard the crash of the office desk being overturned. He found the safe, she yelled. Her voice cracked. Was that fear or rage? Protocol 7 is live. We have to scrub the site. Where is he? Gas density at critical. The male voice shouted. Ignition imminent in 30 seconds. We have to bail Viper. Leave him. He's dead anyway. Viper. My wife's name was Viper. No, she screamed. Find him. I heard the basement door at the top of the stairs creak. I stopped breathing. My heart stopped beating. I became a statue in the dark. A beam of light cut down the stairs, slicing through the gloom, sweeping over the washer, the dryer, the boxes of Christmas decorations. The beam hit the furnace. It inched toward my corner. Viper. 10 seconds. The light hesitated. Then it snapped back up. Clear, the male voice yelled. Damn it. Elena screamed. The footsteps retreated. The front door slammed. I counted to 3. 1, 2, 3. Then the world turned white. The shock wave hit me before the sound did. It felt like being kicked in the chest by a horse. The ceiling above me disintegrated. A ball of fire roared down the stairwell, licking at the concrete, consuming the oxygen in a terrifying whoosh. Debris rained down. Beams. Drywall. The shattered remains of our life. A burning section of the kitchen floor collapsed, landing 10 feet away from me. The heat was unbearable, singing the hair on my arms. But the corner held. The concrete held. I lay there for a minute, coughing, my ears ringing with a high-pitched whine that drowned out the crackle of the flames. I was alive. I crawled through the smoke, over the rubble, towards a small egress window in the back of the basement. I smashed the latch with the hammer. I pushed the glass out. I squeezed my body through the narrow opening, scraping my skin raw, clawing my way up into the backyard. I collapsed on the grass, gasping for sweet, cool air. I rolled onto my back. Our house was a torch. Flames danced on the roof, painting the twilight sky in violent oranges and blacks. And there, standing in the driveway, illuminated by the firelight, was a black SUV. 2 men in tactical gear were loading equipment into the back. And standing apart from them, staring at the inferno, was Elena. She was wearing a tactical vest over her pantsuit. She held a suppressed assault rifle at her side like it was a purse. She looked at the fire, and she slumped. Her shoulders dropped. She covered her mouth with her hand. It looked like grief. It looked like she was watching her heart burn. Let's go, Viper, one of the men shouted. Fire department is 3 minutes out. She didn't move. I should have run. I should have hopped the back fence and disappeared into the woods. But I stood up. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted her to see me. Maybe I wanted to see her face when she realized she failed. Elena! I screamed. Her head snapped around. Even across the 50 yards of burning lawn, I saw her eyes widen. She didn't hesitate. She raised a rifle. The men shouted something, pointing at me. Elena fired. Fut, fut, fut. 3 shots. Silent puffs of dirt kicked up right at the feet of the man standing next to her. He dropped like a stone. The second man spun around, raising his weapon, but Elena was faster. She pivoted, the rifle an extension of her body. 2 more shots. The second man crumpled against the side of the SUV. I stood there frozen, the heat of the burning house at my back, the cold realization washing over me. She killed them, her own team. She dropped the rifle. She ran toward me. She hurdled a low fence, sprinting across the grass, her face smeared with soot and tears. I raised a hammer. Stay back. I croaked. Stay the hell back. She skidded to a stop 5 feet from me. She held her hands up. Michael, look at me. Who are you? I screamed. Who are you? I'm your wife, she sobbed. I'm Elena. You're a liar. You tried to kill me. No. She took a step forward. I swung the hammer. She flinched, but didn't retreat. No, Michael. The gas, that wasn't me. That was a failsafe. The agency. As soon as you opened that safe, it triggered a remote scrub. I came back to get you out. I swear to God, I came back for you. You have a Russian passport. I spat. You have 50 grand in a safe. You're a spy. She laughed. A hysterical, what sound? A spy? Michael, look at the passport again. Look at the date of birth. I reached into my pocket. I pulled out the blue book. I hadn't looked at the date before. I flipped it open, my hand shaking. Nadia Volkov, DOB, 1994. So, I said. Michael, she said, her voice dropping to a whisper. Look at your passport. I don't have my passport on me. I know, she said, because you don't have one. You never have. You think you're a freelance graphic designer? You think you work from home because you're an introvert? She took another step. I wasn't hired to be a regional director, Michael. I was hired to be a jailer. The world seemed to stop. The roar of the fire faded into a dull hum. What? 5 years ago, she said, tears streaming down her soot-stained cheeks. I was a contract cleaner, a fixer. My assignment was a man who saw something he shouldn't have seen in a warehouse in Prague. A man who stole encrypted keys from the Bratva. She pointed at me. My assignment was to kill you, Michael. You are the asset. You are the target. I stumbled back. That's crazy. I'm from Ohio. I went to state. Implanted memories, she said. Hypnotic suggestion in a very, very controlled environment. I couldn't do it. I couldn't pull the trigger. You were kind. You were scared. So I made a deal with the devil. I told the agency I could keep you quiet, keep you hidden in plain sight, give you a boring, safe life where you'd never remember the codes in your head. She gestured to the burning house. Atherton Logistics isn't a company. It's the payroll front for my containment fees. The business trips are when I have to go debrief and prove you're still dormant. But you woke up, Michael. You broke the lock. You tripped the alarm. The agency decided the experiment was over. She looked back at the dead men by the SUV. I just killed my handlers for you. I just burned my entire life for you. Sirens wailed in the distance. Getting closer, she extended her hand. It was trembling. We have maybe 2 minutes before the police arrive, and 10 minutes before a second kill team shows up. If we stay here, we're both dead. If you come with me, we run. We run forever. I looked at the burning skeleton of the house. I looked at the hammer in my hand, a tool for a graphic designer who likes to fix things around the house. A fake man. A ghost. I looked at her, the woman who lied to me for 5 years. The woman who built a cage and called a marriage, but also the woman who just put 2 bullets in her colleagues to keep me breathing. I dropped the hammer. It hit the grass with a soft thud. Where do we go? I asked. She didn't smile. She just grabbed my hand. Her grip was iron. Sweet 400, she whispered. I have a stash car there. But Michael? Yeah. From now on, she said, pulling me toward the darkness of the woods, away from the sirens, I drive.